He got a big win on Wednesday night against the Cleveland Cavaliers, but a lot of injury updates to our Miami Heat came out on Thursday afternoon. Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, not so much Tyler Herro, but I still want to touch on his injury status. And then, of course, we have to talk about Terry Rozier and what he did Wednesday evening against the Cavs, going absolutely nuclear in the final 2 minutes of that ball game to take home a victory on the road for the Miami Heat. Before we jump into those injury news, we did get challenged to a like battle. Celtics today put out a video yesterday, and they bet me that we couldn't beat their like total. They ended up getting 157. I think that is very attainable for us, Heat Nation, so hit that like button. Let's beat the Boston Celtics on the YouTube streets, because then we'll carry it over to the actual hardwood. All right, let's jump into the injury news now. And Bam Adebayo, well, it's a positive one because he is expected to return to this Heat lineup on Friday. We know he missed Wednesday's game with back discomfort, which was concerning after Duncan Robinson left Monday's game and missed Wednesday with back injury as well. But Adebayo was asked about the injury after the game on Wednesday against the Cavs, and he said, "We got guys back," so he Spo told me it was time to take one off, more maintenance than anything. That is massive for Miami. I've talked about this in depth. If the Heat want to go where they want to go, obviously you need Jimmy Butler there leading the way, but there is no one as important than Bam Adebayo because what he does on the glass and rebounding, and he really acts as the hub for this Heat offense at the high key, at the elbow as well. Bam, to me, is the most important player for the Miami Heat. If you take away Jimmy Butler, should become as no surprise. I mean, he's our second best guy, but what he brings to the table defensively is absolutely needed, and it's good that he is likely going to return on Friday. Going to Duncan Robinson now. This one's a little bit kind of hard to believe because the Heat labeled him as day-to-day. But it doesn't feel like he actually is day-to-day. He missed Wednesday, obviously, and then a new report came out today from Ira Winderman who said that Duncan Robinson, the diagnosis with his back discomfort is left facet syndrome. Treatment will dictate return, which could be as soon as this coming week, which is good news, but left facet syndrome also sounds very painful. And I looked it up, and I want to read out the definition for y'all. Facet joint syndrome is an arthritis-like condition of the spine that can be a significant source of back and neck pain. It is caused by degenerative changes to the joints between the spine bones. The cartilage inside the facet joint can break down and become inflamed, triggering pain signals in nearby nerve endings. Now, he might be day-to-day, but to me, that doesn't sound so good. So I feel like Duncan Robinson will be out at least a week. Hopefully just that, because the Heat absolutely need him. And the same could be said with Tyler Herro. And that's why I wanted to tie him into this conversation, because if Duncan Robinson is out for an extended period of time, the Heat are going to be in a bad way, specifically with their three-point shooting, which has been top half in the NBA this season because of how well Duncan Robinson has played after basically being benched last year. And I have a fun fact for all of you, and this can be also including Kevin Love, who's missed the last 12 or 13 games with Tyler Herro. Herro, Kevin Love, and Duncan Robinson have combined to average damn near 23-point attempts per game this season. Those three are the main initiators of this Heat attack from beyond the arc, because you're not seeing it a lot from the guys like Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, even though Bam has increased his three-point shots as of late. But you see the numbers, 8.1 for Tyler, 7 for Duncan, 4.5 for Kevin, and they're also being very efficient in those attempts. These guys need to get healthy so the Heat can really start to make that push in the postseason. Why did the Heat make the run last year if we just flash back almost a year ago? Well, it's because they got hot from three. They were the worst three-point shooting team in the entire regular season last year. That's why they were the 8th seed. And then Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson started to play well. They got hot from three alongside Caleb Martin as well, which allowed Miami to really make that push and upset teams like Milwaukee, New York, and Boston in the NBA playoffs. So for the Heat to get back to the finals for the second straight year, they're going to need to be able to knock down threes at an efficient rate, and it all starts with them getting healthy with Tyler, Duncan, and Kevin Love. Are you with me? Because I am sick of talking about these injuries. I can't stand it. The Heat have notoriously been one of the most injured teams over the past 3 or 4 seasons. I'm sick and tired of them being hurt. If you're with me, type those me's down below, and I should see a lot of me's. All right, before we get into the later half of today's show, I did want to talk about real quick the injury status for Friday night's game, because we talked a lot about the status and what they were diagnosed with, but it is no surprise that Tyler Herro, Kevin Love, Duncan Robinson remain listed as out for the Heat. Bam is questionable. I do anticipate him playing as long as Bam did not lie to us after that game against the Cavs, saying it was just one because of maintenance. He should be back for a game against the Pelicans, which should be a highly contested game considering they are playing the Pelicans, who they fought with back just after the All-Star break with Najee Marshall. Jovic is going to be available to play, which makes me happy. Caleb Martin is good. Londis Williams back to the G League, and Jay Rich is obviously out for the year. But it's good to have some guys returning the lineup and staying in the lineup, because Jovic had a pretty big 14 points yesterday against the Cleveland Cavaliers as well. Coming up in just a second, the impact of Terry Rozier is absolutely being felt on this Miami Heat lineup, and I want to talk about it more in depth. But before we get to that, I got to show some love to our sponsor. That is Factor Meals, my favorite sponsor here at the Heat Report, and it's for good reason, because they have the most delicious meals ever that are fresh, never frozen, dietitian approved, and they're ready to go in just 2 minutes. Over 35 different options to choose from on a weekly basis, including Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Also, there are more than 60 add-ons to help you stay fueled up and feeling good all day long. Stop waiting today. Get started today. Sign up and save. I've done the math, which is why I hopped on with them. They've done the math as well. Factor is less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian approved to be nutritious and delicious. It is the perfect solution if you're looking for fast, premium options with no cooking required. So head to factormeals.com/HeatChat50 and use code HeatChat50 to get 50% off. That's code HeatChat50 at factormeals.com/HeatChat50. Get that 50% off today. Link is in the description and comments of today's video. All right, I want to talk about Terry Rozier now, because obviously the addition at the trade deadline for the Heat a couple weeks before that official deadline, when Pat Riley sent Kyle Lowry and a first-round pick to Charlotte for Terry. He got off to a really cold start with the Heat, but his impact has just grown and grown over the last couple weeks, and we might have seen his best game as a Miami Heat basketball player last night. You could argue the game against the Dallas Mavericks, it was a loss, so I don't count it because this one happened in a win, and he came up absolutely massive. He's been really good playmaking for Miami, actually in the assist department, but yesterday was all about his scoring. 24 points, which was second on the team behind Jimmy Butler's 30-point piece tender, shot 50% from the field, but that bottom number is the one that was so key for me. 5 of 6 from beyond the arc, including 2 triples in the final minute and a half that really gave Miami that win. And the thing that is so impressive and so key about Terry Rozier is he is a tough shot maker, which is something that Miami desperately needs. We were hoping Herro was going to become that type of isolation scorer that can fill up the stat sheet in terms of scoring and points, but he has just been in and out of the lineup. But when he's been there, he's been fine. But Rozier, just think about the 2 shots he hit in the final minute and a half last night. The step back 3 down 100-96 and 1. Literally tied up the game on a 4-point step back 3. Massive. Then the game square at 102 with 15 seconds left, and Rozier, a little isolation, Isaac Okoro, come here, little Auburn boy, sidestep triple, bang job. Are you kidding me? He made those look so easy, and they are the most difficult shots that you can possibly take on a court, and he was taking them in high leverage situations. This is the man that Pat Riley traded for, and it took some time for him to get ready with the Miami Heat, but since the All-Star break, he finally got to settle down with Miami, those 6-7 days off. He has been a different basketball player coming out of the All-Star break, averaging near 18.5 points per game, but the efficiency is key because the first 6 or 7 games with Miami, he was shooting 37% from the field and 25% from 3. But you obviously see on screen, those have greatly increased over the last 12 games played. So show some love to my main man, Terry. Scary Terry up in the building. Spam those 2s down below. I'm typing those 2s. He came up massive. And if you were with us on our watch party yesterday, by the way, we were typing those 2s a lot at the end of the game. It was also an electric watch party. 1,100 people tuned in for the final portion of that game. That was very fun. Also subscribe to the channel, by the way. But back to Terry Rozier, because his ceiling, or what he brings to the table, elevates this Heat's team ceiling. And what is their ceiling? Honestly, I don't know. to be honest, but I think Rozier has the ability to take games over from Miami. You think about that game against the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas just 2-3 weeks ago. He was the only reason why they stayed in that game. They couldn't defend him. He was taking ridiculously tough mid-range and deep threes and just absolutely connecting as it was nothing for him. And you saw what he did yesterday. 3 after 3 after 3. And that's not Terry Rozier's game. He likes to get to the rim, hit the floaters, get in the mid-range spot, which is why he works so well in the pick and roll with Bam Adebayo. But when he's able to knock down those threes, then you bring Tyler into the form. You have Bam there with the defense and inside finishing and rebounding. And Jimmy's ability to hit tough shots and force his way to the free throw line. You're talking about an offense that is very, very dynamic, and other teams are going to have a difficult time game planning for. The defense will always be a question for Terry and the rest of this Heat team, but when you look at the offense, this is a team that can absolutely reach that next peak on the offensive rating scale when Rozier is playing like this, and it will only increase the chances of Miami getting to the finals. Unlikely that they'd be able to win the finals. I'll stay firm and be truthful with you guys. If they match up with the Denver Nuggets, there's no chance of beating them in a 7-game series. So just hope that you can get there, and somehow Denver does not get there. But at least Rozier is going to help this team have another chance to reach their third finals in the last 4 seasons. That'll do it for today's show. Make sure you are subscribed. Like I mentioned, we have a lot of fun on our watch parties. We'll be live again if you're watching this on Thursday, on Friday evening. If you're watching this on Friday, we'll be live later tonight as well for the game against the Pelicans. Make sure you join us for that watch party. We're also going to be live for every single game the rest of the season and into the playoffs. So join us. They are a lot of fun.